People like to say communism works in theory. If I tell you I've got this car and it flies and it works in theory, are you getting in to drive off a cliff? You're not. My name is Michael Malice, and this is my story.
Stories of Us, Michael Malice, take one.
I'm an anarchist. I've been temperamentally an anarchist since early kindergarten when I stood up to my teacher because I told her she shouldn't hit little people, and I was correct.
Michael Malice, take two.
I've also done underwear modeling for Sheath underwear. I designed a couple of pairs for them. And what's great about Sheath is it has two pouches for your male anatomy. One pouch for one part, one pouch for another part.
Take three.
I'm also in favor of annexing Canada and enslaving them. Population of Canada is 40 million. The African-American population is 41 million. So 1-to-1, give every African-American one Canadian slave. So slavery in the South was bad. So we have to do the opposite, which is slavery in the North.
Okay, take four.
I was born in what is now Lviv, what was then Lvov, what is now Ukraine, what was then the Soviet Union. I don't think my parents really regarded the Soviet Union as their homeland. The way to get out of the USSR back then, this is the late 70s, you basically have to bribe the government with everything that you have. My parents knew correctly that America was a land of opportunity. So without really speaking any much of English, they thought, okay, this is going to be our chance to provide a better life for our son. And I thank them for it, every single day. And they were right. I moved with my family to Brooklyn at the age of 1.5 to 2. My parents understood that if a government provides a good or service, it's going to be subpar. So they put me in private school. I got a scholarship. I went to yeshiva, which is Jew school. I was actually not a troublemaker at all, despite what people might think. When I graduated school, I temped for a while, consulting, while I tried to make it. I had a blog that became successful. Then Harvey Pekar, who's the comic writer of American Splendor fame, wrote a graphic novel about me. Through that, I started co-authoring books for celebrities, which was a lot of fun. And then I had enough of a platform where I could become an author on my own terms. So I started writing books. I'm a big admirer of this idea that you can create the kind of life that you want to live. I want to have cool experiences. So my friend Ed, who went to college with me, I was on his Facebook and there's a photo of him in a North Korean tank in the background. I didn't even know you could go there. I'm like, that's the first place I wanted to go. This is my only chance to see what my family had gone through back in the day. If I went to Russia in 2010, this is nothing like Soviet communism, Soviet Union. And I thought, okay, this would be a good opportunity to write a book, because when you have something that's widely known but almost universally misunderstood, that's a great market opportunity. Some of the most surprising things I saw in North Korea, Americans have this idea that when you go there, it's like Disneyland, and they put on this beautiful show for everyone. It's not the case at all. Every wall has a crack. Every carpet has a stain. If the elevator has 10 buttons, one will be mismatched. They took us to the Central Park. The fountain wasn't working, and it was covered in mildew. And the city, Pyongyang, their capital city, this amazing crown jewel of their country, half the lights weren't working at night. So there's no possibility that as a Westerner, you're going to go there and think these people have it figured out. You will not. If I could teach one lesson to Americans about what I learned in North Korea, it is in the same way that you often hear leftists say America is the most racist country on earth, which is very bizarre that all these minorities are trying to break down the door and get in. I hear a lot of conservatives talk about how America it can't get any worse. It can get so much worse in so many ways. And until you step foot in one of these places, you don't realize how pervasive tyranny is. Like, let's suppose you don't like woke culture. Fine. Now imagine a situation where all the music you listen to, every book, every newspaper, every TV program has to be woke by law. It's impossible for the American mind to understand, and even for myself, having been there, what effect that has on your psyche. There's this joke Reagan had where two Russians were going down the street, and one goes, "Is this it? Have we finally achieved full communism?" And the other goes, "Oh, no, it gets much worse." People like to say communism works in theory. Doesn't make any sense. If I tell you I've got this car and it flies and it works in theory, are you getting in to drive off a cliff? You're not. So reality is how you determine whether something works. And there's many reasons why communism cannot and will not work, and it shouldn't work. Because this idea of equality is this complete moral obscenity, the idea that everyone should have the same of everything. You don't need to be some kind of political genius to understand it's better when people have food, shelter, and things of this nature. Americans are used to reading like 1984, where you have this domination and the story is consistent, everyone buys into it. Communism can't even produce good narratives. People just look around and they go, this isn't adding up. In 2021, I made the difficult decision to leave New York. It's the only home I'd ever known. One by one, my friends moved away. All the establishments I adored for my entire life were destroyed. Then when they implemented the vaccine passport, I'm like, all right, this is my line. And I had a friend who had said once, she goes, why am I funding my own oppression? And I'm like, okay, things are getting more expensive and worse, where I can go somewhere else where things will be cheaper and better. One of the reasons I moved to Austin from New York City is because I needed to know that if someone breaks into my house, A, I can defend myself, and B, I won't go to jail for defending myself in my own home. And that is a major cultural difference. The way for societies to flourish is freedom. It means to have, maximum opportunity, not equal opportunity, maximum freedom, and that is often entirely a function of fighting the state. The most important thing to me, and something that governments violate daily, is freedom of association. If you have freedom of association, speech becomes secondary. So I don't think, as a rule, most people want free speech. They only want the free speech that they like. I don't like the term free speech because it's you're setting yourself up to be called a hypocrite. Because every single person has some line beyond which where they're like, all right, this is something that is taboo and should be taboo. And then they go, aha, I thought you were for free speech. The Soviet newspaper was called Pravda, which means truth. I'm going to paraphrase Margaret Thatcher. Being truthful is like being a lady. If you have to tell people that you are, you aren't. I think truth is very weaponized in the United States. Jimmy Dore had this great bit about, like, during COVID, the corporate press was the truth. You shouldn't do your own research. He's like, it's the first time in history where reading was regarded as a function of being stupid. Like, what are you reading over there? We got ourselves a reader over here. What kind of idiot are you? People aren't interested in truth, they're interested in narratives. And there are things like confirmation bias and so many things where if something is in line with my values, I'm going to be more likely to believe the story. Where something contradicts my values, I'm more skeptical of it. And this happens to all of us. A patriot is someone who consciously loves his country, and honestly. I very much consider myself a patriot. I can live anywhere I want, and I choose to live in the United States because it is by far the greatest country on earth and the greatest country that has ever existed. This is despite the government, not because of it. If I could give a message to the viewers, it would be this. No one, no matter how much you like him, of a politician is going to save you in this country. Not one person can and ever has or ever will do it. It is incumbent on you to nudge the world and make it a little bit of a better place. And if you could do that honestly and meet your maker and say, I did what I could with what I had, that's all I could ask of anybody. I hate taxes, and I love shows like this, so to keep PragerU free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.